Good evening, everybody. We are going to war with Iran. It's happening. There's no way around it. It's going to happen. It's already happening. Okay, so Trump made that declaration today, essentially. So we know that after all of the things that we've seen in the media today, which we're going to go over, America is at war with Iran. Yes, there's no way around it. There's no more denying it. It is just happening. That's the facts. That's where we're at. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this war is going to benefit the United States? Do you think it will not benefit the United States? Obviously, I don't think it will benefit America. I think this is very foolish. I don't think it's wise for America to be involved in this war. I definitely don't think it's wise for America to be involved in wars that we, again, are on the other side of the planet, that don't offer us any kind of financial benefit, economic benefit. But either way, this is happening. We are at war with Iran. So, what do you guys think? We're going to go through the Twitter X algorithm. We're going to talk about some of the things happening. We're going to talk about the biggest stories, and we're going to talk about what a big moment in history that this actually is. Because there's been a very few people who have essentially predicted exactly what's going to happen. Very few. Most people who have been talking about the Iran war, especially those on the side of President Trump, have been very pro Iran war. They've been pro the idea, or they've just denied the fact that Trump would even get us involved in a war. They said, no, Trump's the peace president. We voted for him to not get us into any more wars, but guess what? We're in a war, right? So as Americans, we need to understand that this is now the reality that we live in. This is a 20-year possible war, another Iraq war, another Afghanistan war, and we need to ask ourselves who really benefits. And quite frankly, I don't believe it's America. So honestly, I don't believe that the future of America should be a future of war. It's not going to help the United States in any way. It's not going to bring any kind of American golden age. And it's definitely going to leave a stain on Trump's legacy. But why is all of this happening? Well, we know that the Epstein files were just released. We know that all of these different things were just released on Howard Lutnick as well. And a lot of people in the Trump administration, even Elon Musk, though we believe, based on at least the emails, that Elon Musk maybe had only one or two points of contact with Epstein. But that's all we know. Half of the Epstein files are still redacted. Many of them have been redacted. So what do you think about that? If you agree with this show, if you agree with the message, be sure to like, share, subscribe, spread the message, and support the show. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. Also, Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, has been killed, which is also major news. This is major news in the entire global shift, the entire geopolitical flashpoint that we're in. So we also have the way that this affects China and Russia, who are also allies to Iran. How does this affect Iran versus Israel versus the United States? Well, Russia and China being allies to Iran, now they will not have any access to oil, especially China, who is really dependent on Iranian oil. However, Russia will now be a supplier of this oil, and they will just take the place. So what does this mean? Russia and China will have an even closer relationship. They may not come to the aid of Iran, but mainly because this relationship was more transactional, based on oil and based on reserves, based on what Iran was actually able to provide. But because Khamenei and that regime was so disliked by so many countries and basically Europe, Asia, because of this, it caused a lot of turmoil, which now nobody really wants to come to the aid of Iran. Of course, we have the Sharia law issue with Iran. That is a big issue, and we don't believe in that. Most of the world does not believe in that culture. And also, the Iranian people, though, on the flip end, this does not help America because really, how is this helping America if we are going to be fighting another 20-year war that we're probably going to lose? Like what's our track record, right? So we have to consider this. So with that being said, let's get into the first video. It was a video I posted on Ecker Geopolitics, but I liked it, and I thought it was rather important. So let's take a listen to this. Make sure the volume's up, and tell me what you guys think. But this is a summary of today, February 28th, 2026, the shots fired day, the official day that America officially attacked Iran on behalf of Israel, in my opinion.
Ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Yep, so this was from U.S. Central Command. As the president stated, our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. The president ordered bold action. CENTCOM forces are delivering an overwhelming and unrelenting blow. I posted this. This was directly from U.S. Central Command, but I made this entire video because it pretty much encapsulates what we saw today in the war and all of the different pieces of footage that were captured from the from the attacks on Iran, and then the attacks that Iran made on both Israel and bases in Saudi Arabia. So let's keep watching. So again, this is unclassified footage, and it's showing Iranian strong points, military points, essentially being destroyed by U.S. and Israeli aircraft. U.S. Tomahawks deployed to Iran. Several Iranian supreme leaders reportedly killed. Stories are developing on this. And again, this was 40 plus Iranian supreme leaders have been killed in this entire U.S. Israel operation. So this is a very historic day. And at this point, we're already in the war. So now we need to ask ourselves, what do we do now? Is this a war we should persist? Is this a war we should continue? Or is this a war that might better benefit Israel and not really America? Maybe we should have a fake war, like Tim Dillon was suggesting. I thought that was a decent idea, a decoy war. Because honestly, what is the purpose of another 20-year war? It obviously does not allow America to have the golden age. At this point, I believe Iran and Israel should fight it out. This is their war. I believe in the Western Hemisphere dominance. I believe in securing our own power through the Western Hemisphere, the Monroe Doctrine. That makes sense, okay? But being on the other side of the planet, fighting a war in territory that our soldiers have never had a great track record of fighting in, not their fault, just not their territory. And again, Iran is way bigger than Iraq, okay? And they have, 90 million people? Or 9 million? I don't even know what the numbers were. But they have a big military. And it's going to be a fight for the United States. And we're already deploying resources that we really can't afford to deploy. And so that's the truth. So deploying all of this military hardware towards Iran, to me, it's wasting valuable ammunition that could serve us elsewhere. But what do you guys think? So again, these are U.S. Tomahawks deployed to Iran. Hopefully you can see them in the video here. And again, this is just one video I made. I clipped all of this together. This is the Strait of Hormuz that you see all of the activity. That was Iran striking the Israel high-rise in retaliation for the events. And that was big on Twitter X. We also had Dubai, and again, this was Saudi Arabia. This was allegedly a U.S. base. And then, again, Dubai, Qatar, as they like to say. Scary stuff. This is a crazy video because this was the U.S. military base, which was attacked in Saudi Arabia by Iranian missile system, and it was a close call. It almost actually hit U.S. troops, and that's what I believe Israel and that's what they're looking for. The USS Gerald Ford right now is a sitting duck, and I believe that they're going to use that as a precursor to essentially get us into a furtherance of this war, a reason to get the American people on board, like a 9/11 kind of event, like a USS Liberty kind of event, and that's what I see happening. I think that's the dangerous thing. Israel has already deployed submarines from their shores, so it's in there straight for Oman, straight for the Strait of Hormuz, which is right where the U.S. military is. So it's very strange. Are they working with us, or is this a setup? I don't know. Again, this is a video of Iran, their missile systems attempting to hit U.S. bases, and our anti-missile systems pretty much missed this. Watch this. This is crazy. But this is happening. The war is happening. There's no getting out of it. There's no avoiding it. It's just happening. Look at that. And it almost hits our troops.
What I can say is new right now. We're just getting.
And then this story came right after.
Saudi Arabia.
This is from Fox News. To give credit to this video, Jennifer Griffin's the one who's speaking. She's the chief national security correspondent.
They will join the U.S. in the operation against the Islamic Republic of Iran.
So again, immediately Saudi Arabia said that they're going to side with the United States and Israel versus Iran, which again tells us just how little allies that Iran has. Also, maybe not for reasons of what you think, maybe more for reasons of leverage, control, transactional alliances is what we're looking at, economic alliances.
They said that this comes in the wake of Iran attacking the U.S. base in Saudi Arabia. I just spoke to a senior U.S. official who said the Iranians made a big mistake by firing on Arab coalition partners. Now they are likely to respond. So by Iran firing missiles at UAE, Bahrain,
wow, that's crazy.
Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan, they are now likely to fire back at Iranian targets. So those coalition partners are now going to enter.
Yeah, so again, Saudi Arabia is siding with the United States and Israel on this one.
Operation that started off as a U.S.-Israeli
Crazy
operation.
stuff. There's no going back now. Again, this is the UAE. Look at that.
Defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
And then this was footage from, I think this is in, I can't remember where this video was. I think this was Saudi Arabia, though. This is either Saudi Arabia or this was Iran. I believe this actually might have been Iran in this clip. Fact check me if I'm wrong. But that's just one clip encapsulating the entire war and what's going on. I also wanted to show this, and I thought this was an interesting video. Wanted to repost this. Got 16 likes, so people were interested in it. But I called this the U.S. geopolitical strategy and regime change to Iran. The plan to simultaneously disrupt China's oil access and Russia's alliance with Iran. Very good geopolitical insight here, and I wanted to share this too in this video. So let's watch.
Since 2018, after the United States exited the nuclear deal, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, pushed a look east strategy. The logic was simple. If the West isolates us, we pivot to Moscow and Beijing, and Iran followed through. Joint naval drills in the Gulf of Oman, missile cooperation, oil.
So again, this is important. So again, listen to what they just said. A lot of oil reserves that are going to be going to China in particular here.
To China, military coordination in Syria on paper, the partnership looked strong, but when it comes to actual war with the United States, the support shrinks dramatically. This week, Russia and Iran held a small naval drill in the Gulf of Oman. China plans to join future exercises in the Strait
And this is definitely concerning.
of Hormuz. Now compare that to U.S. deployments, carrier strike groups, long-range bombers, advanced air defense systems, weeks-long sustained strike capability. U.S. officials say Washington now has the option of launching a prolonged air campaign, not just a limited strike like the June Midnight Hammer operation. In contrast, Russia's helicopter carrier left immediately after the exercise ended. So why won't China intervene? China is Iran's largest oil customer. Roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. But Beijing's priority is stability, not confrontation. Aligning openly with Iran against the United States would damage relations with Washington, risk sanctions,
Crazy.
Gulf economic partnerships, disrupt global oil flows. China's approach is clear.
Sorry about that if you can't see it. I'm fixing it right now.
Position itself for influence if Iran's leadership changes. If the regime collapses, Beijing will secure
Now we
energy
should be
flows,
back up.
not defend Tehran militarily. And what about Iran militarily? And what about Russia? Moscow has
Should be
benefited
back up.
from Iran. Drone cooperation, sanctions evasion networks, regional coordination, but Russia is calculating carefully. It does not want to push Trump closer to Ukraine, risk direct US-Russia confrontation, stretch its own military capacity. Russian leaders may hope the Iranian regime survives, but they are unlikely to go to war
What do you guys think is going to happen with this war?
with the United States to save it. Iran still holds leverage. It can disrupt the Strait of Hormuz regional oil infrastructure US bases via proxies. Around 20%
See, the amount of oil
global
that we control is pretty limited on this side of the planet. And so our U.S. military, we want all the oil. So we want to go invade all these different countries on behalf of Israel. because really that's what this is about, the Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica. Okay, so if you've been following the Predictive History YouTube channel, which I recommend everybody go follow, talks a lot about this issue, and I recommend everybody go watch Sneako's channel, where Sneako talks a lot about, he's been covering the Predictive History YouTube channel, where it's excellent content, excellent for learning about the geopolitical history of the Middle East, of Israel, the Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica, and it talks all about this, and it makes a lot more sense out of this entire issue. So I definitely recommend go subscribe to Sneako and go subscribe to the Predictive History YouTube channel and watch all of those videos. Study this issue, because this is what's going to be happening for the next 10, 20 years if Trump and the Department of War continue and persist towards this goal of occupying the Middle East completely on Israel's behalf.
Flows through Hormuz. That is Tehran's deterrent. But escalation there would also hurt China, its biggest customer, which is another reason Beijing prefers restraint. The narrative of a unified anti-Western axis is overstated. Russia and China share interests with Iran, but they do not share existential commitment. If the United States strikes Iran, Beijing and Moscow will calculate based on their own survival.
What do you guys think? Will China and Russia basically do nothing to back Iran, or are we going to see Chinese aircraft carriers in the Gulf of Oman, in the Strait of Hormuz? What do you guys think is coming?
Their own economy, their own wars, not Tehran's, and that leaves Iran facing the most powerful military in the world, largely alone.
And that was, again, what I believe to be happening right now, and I think that's a very real threat to the United States. Again, Reuters and Israel media have reported that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been killed. Again, Trump made a Truth Social statement about this, but just wanted to cover this issue real quick. This is Trey Yingst, and he is a Fox News reporter covering the issue happening in Israel right now and what's kind of going down there. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you are watching this, and tell me what you think. What do you guys think is going to happen with this entire war? We knew it was coming. We knew the war with Iran was coming. We knew that this was really the reason that Trump was installed to be the president, right? The mission was to denuclearize Iran or to topple the Iranian government. And so Trump was a Trojan horse for this, and we got duped into believing that we were going to have no more wars, right? The peace president. And we wanted this. It's not that Trump was necessarily fully to blame, but it's that the Trump administration and the United States Congress essentially is completely divided. And we don't have that true sense of purpose as a country. So therefore, we have no fealty or loyalty to our own president. Therefore, we have all these blackmailed politicians who are really working for a totally different state, a fifth column. So here's this video from Fox News talking more about the Iranian missiles. 40 plus Iranian supreme leaders killed in U.S.-Israeli operations. Let's check this out.
Learned from a senior Israeli security official. Israel assesses that more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime figures were killed in strikes during the opening operation that Israel launched this morning with the United States.
40 plus. Do you think they used the pagers? Because we know Israel used the pagers before. Do you think they used them again? I think we'll learn that there was some kind of operation with that, or there was some kind of drone warfare, or I believe that maybe we even got them in one place. From what we know, Israel's Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, right, ISIS or Mossad, right, the IDF, we can call it, whatever. According to current information, they had basically infiltrated the Iranian security, and basically that's how they were able to undergo this operation. Again, of course, with U.S. military help. If it wasn't for the United States, none of this would be possible for the state of Israel. So it's very sad. Another 20-year war with Iran, or another 20-year war in the Middle East with Iran this time, repeating what we saw with Iraq, repeating what we saw with Afghanistan. Just going to be a lot of blood spilled by European patriots who don't deserve to die for this war, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Am I wrong?
Against the Iranian regime. This official goes on to say this is one of the largest regime decapitation operations conducted in modern warfare history, and that Israeli intelligence managed
It's definitely shaken up to be that way, isn't it?
To infiltrate the Iranian security echelon, making the strikes possible, this official explained. But again, this news just coming into us, we were able to confirm it, that a senior Israeli
You can hear sirens going off in the background in this video if you really listen.
official telling Fox News more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime figures were killed.
Yes, very crazy stuff. And at the end of the day, it's not good for America. What do you guys think? I mean, I think it's just absolutely horrible. It's very tragic, very tragic. So let's look at what's going on Twitter X right now. I always like to see what's going on in the algorithm. This is the newspaper, right? The modern day newspaper is Twitter X. So I focus on Twitter X, okay? Some other people focus on news articles, video per video. I focus on video per video just inside of X and YouTube, because that's where you're really going to get the best content, in my opinion. So based on the newest info, here's what we're seeing now. Scotty Jennings fires back at Representative Thomas Massie. I love Thomas Massie. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, love her too, after they attacked Trump over Iran. Quote, she quit, and she's about to lose a primary in Kentucky, exclamation mark. That'll be the end of that. I don't consider them to be actual Republicans or part of America. So let's take a listen to this. They're apparently talking about Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene in this for not being for the war with Iran, which I'm not for the war with Iran either. Not going to help America at all.
The fair question, and Karen raised some questions.
Let's play this over.
Congressman Thomas Massie also writing, "This is not America first." Do they have a point?
No, they don't have a point, and I don't consider them to be actual Republicans, and I don't consider them to be part of the America First or MAGA movement. To be honest with you, they are basically.
Is that John Ratcliffe? Oh yeah, that's John Ratcliffe. He was around during the Trump impeachment trials, and wow, can I tell you, man, this isn't good. This is not good for the United States at all.
Allied against Donald Trump on everything, whether it's foreign affairs or domestic policy.
Because we don't want to be in another war with Iran, though. That's really what they were talking about. And because Trump was blocking the Epstein files from being released. We deserve to know who's in those Epstein files. We deserve to know, Howard Lutnick hanging out with Epstein all the time. Yeah, we want to know. The American people are going to know. We're going to find out. We're not going to stop asking questions. So it's like, F these people. Respectfully speaking, F anybody in the United States government who's not going to allow the American people to speak the truth, which is our constitutional amendment, our God-given American right. We deserve to know what's going on with our president and with our politicians.
Become political enemies of the president of the United States, no matter what he does. And that's unfortunate, but she quit, and he's about to lose in a primary.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene quitting. Definitely don't think she should have quit. If you have political power, you need to keep your political power. It goes without saying. Power is power, right? Game of Thrones, right? Knowledge is power. And then she surrounds him with all of her guards, and she says, no, power is power. Yeah, so if you have power, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, she had power, and she gave up that power. One, I mean, I can understand you believe that the system's broken and that there's nothing that can be done, but at the same time, it's like, why be so red pill? If you are in a position of power, you might as well fight. Might as well fight it out, because that's the stories that end up getting told in history, are those people who stay and fight. Like Trump. Trump fought for a long time. There's only one Donald Trump, though, right? And this is one man. That's another misconception everybody has, is that Trump is playing 5D chess and that Trump is perfect, that Trump has it all under control. It's like, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But it doesn't look like he has things under control when we're going to a war with Iran on behalf of the state of Israel. And Israel is going to benefit the most. They're going to be the new superpower and the trade central point of the Middle East because of this war. So ultimately, America is going to cost us. This is going to be depression level. We're going to be feeling the Great Depression all over again because of these kind of decisions. So very sad. Trump is going to be looked at for this in the future. In 2028, this is going to be negative for Donald Trump and for J.D. Vance especially. Shame on J.D. Vance for not even standing up and saying, no, we don't want to fight another war with Iran. We don't want to be in the Middle East for 20 more years. That makes no sense, actually. But nobody's saying that. And why? Well, everybody's bought off by Israel.
In Kentucky.
Or they're blackmailed by Israel. Let's remember.
That'll be the end of that. If I may, you mentioned what's the justification, and I think it's a fair question. And Karen raised some questions that need to be answered, and I'm sure they will answer them. But look, over 47 years, hundreds of American troops have been killed by the Iranian regime, and it's...
Yeah, because you sent us to war in the Middle East when we didn't need to. because George Bush sent us to the war in the Middle East when we didn't need to go. 9/11 was blamed on a bunch of Muslims when it was Israel, the dancing Israelis. We know all about it. We know all about Larry Silverstein missing work that one day. We know all about Howard Lutnick missing work that one day so we could go and so we could have an excuse to go to war with Iraq. George W. Bush, we're going to go to war with Iraq. We're going to save America. We're going to be patriots by destroying the United States by terrorism and by war, and then we're going to call other people terrorists for doing the same thing that we're doing to everybody else. And then we're going to elect another guy just like me. We're going to call him Donald Trump, and he's going to take you to war with Iran. Then we're going to finish the Greater Israel Project. That's what's happening right now. Seriously.
Proxies, and I talked to senior.
And it's like, it's such a shame. You see these people just, oh, well, Iran's killed so many American troops. It's like, okay, but why? And, you know, is it because we were on their territory fighting a war that we never wanted to be in, that the Democrats had gotten us into? Yeah, that's why.
Administration, very senior administration officials today. They had intelligence that the regime was going to fire missiles into U.S. military and civilian targets. They were still enriching uranium.
This all sounds like President Netanyahu's script. Like this sounds like Netanyahu wrote this.
They would not give up on that. We had a lot of justification to do this. They tried diplomacy. Iran wouldn't do it.
That's not true. Iran was trying to make diplomacy. They were agreeing to denuclearize. But at the end of the day, ultimately, Israel wanted America to fight Iran, and now we're fighting Iran, and Israel's going to be the central point and the main trade route in the entire Middle East. Superpower of the Middle East, the next America 1.0. In their eyes, in their subjective reality now, they are winning so hard. Not only do they have this on American soil, we have TikTok being acquired by Larry Ellison, who is also Jewish. We have the president of Harvard, who is Jewish. We have the media companies who are all owned by Jews. This is not to sound anti-Semitic. This isn't about anti-Semitism. This is about national security and counterterrorism 101. If we actually care about the sanctity and the strength of the United States of America, then we can't be getting ourselves into wars that we can never get ourselves out of. And so it's only going to cost the American people. It's only going to cost the American taxpayer. Not going to help anybody. Going to crush entrepreneurship and business in America. Forget about that. The only people who are going to win are those who are investing in oil. All the oil ETFs are going to be going up big time. We all know that. They're having a good day. Anybody investing in oil futures, just a shout out, just a heads up, just a little tip. Oil futures, they might be worth investing in.
Acted to save American lives. That was the justification.
So, yes, we're in a war with Iran.
Congressman,
it's official now. There's no more hiding it. There's no more hiding it. Khamenei has been killed in these operations. Iran is mourning, scenes of tears and shock across Iranian streets after the announcement of the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Sorry if I butcher these names sometimes. I just like to read fast. Iran declares 40 days of national mourning following the death of the leader of Islamic Revolution. So these are the people who had fealty to Khamenei. The consequences of war. Very sad. This is Iranian state TV anchor breaking down on air, threatens revenge. Trump is going to pay a price paid by no American president of all time. Revenge is coming, end quote. That was again stated by Iranian state TV anchor. And let's take a listen to this video. This is all new. This was posted 4 minutes ago. So this is live. This is 4 minutes ago. Mario Nawfal, shout out to you, man. You are awesome on Twitter ads. You're right on top of it every time. Follow Mario Nawfal on X. He's really always following these issues great, and he's got great journalists following him and really helping him spread the message. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe too if you're liking this channel, if you're liking the content. If you like the information, more importantly, it's about information. This is an information war, right? So be sure to spread the information.
The devils of the world will celebrate.
Again, we're watching a video of the Iranian state TV essentially cursing the United States and Israel for the operations that were conducted to assassinate him.
And everybody, they have managed to brainwash. But this is not over. Trump is going to pay a price paid by no American president.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, that scared me. Got a little loud there.
At all time, paid by no Zionist of all time, paid by no criminal of all time, Trump is going to see. Because revenge is coming, and revenge is coming soon, and revenge is coming after.
So yeah, you can see the seriousness in their voice and how much the Iranian people, they're not too happy with all of this, obviously. Why would they be? Because this is a war that was unprovoked. This is unprovoked. We're the bad guys. America, this time we're the bad guys. This is like Vietnam all over again. We're going to pay a hefty price for this. I highly, highly implore any U.S. military veterans, any soldiers that are going to be getting deployed. I don't know, man. Maybe I'd be willing to get stop lost or something. Maybe I'd be willing to not go under these circumstances. Because why? You know why? We are just being thrown into a war that nobody wants to be in. It's not going to be good for us. Israel should be fighting this war. Israel's U.S. troops should be going out there fighting this war. We should be seeing the Israeli bases being, well, we don't want to see anybody getting attacked. But what I'm saying is we should be seeing Israel fighting this war against Iran. Okay, not U.S. troops. Absolutely not. But again, let's go on with the Iranian state media and their remarks towards America and Trump.
Trump, after everybody who facilitated this assassination, he will pay the ultimate price. And it's not only by the millions of Iranians, it's not only by the millions in resistance countries, it's also by those who have newly joined the resistance.
Very sad. It's very sad for everybody. You know, I mean, I'm not some Palestinian. I'm not pro-Iran. I'm pro-America first. I don't believe we should be in another war in the Middle East. How does it benefit us? Zero. None. Like, absolutely nothing is worth going to this war. There's just no reason to fight it. And we don't have the capital to fight it. We're $37 trillion in debt, $38 trillion in debt. Every single day we're getting more and more in debt. And Trump wants to talk about acquiring Greenland. We want to talk about all of these ambitions, Cuba. But then we have this happening? There's no way. We don't have the military capacity. And again, actually we do. But it's foolish. War is what destroys great empires. And this is the strategy. This is the great replacement. This is the Kalergi plan in action. This is the real plan. This is how things actually work. This is what's going wrong. Okay, this is why America is falling right now, because we are getting involved in a war we shouldn't be involved in. Whenever this happens to a nation, that nation is often cursed and they lose. But obviously we want America to win, but you know, we're already in the war with Iran. There's no going back. It's just, how do we mitigate what we've done at this point? How do we mitigate it? How do we transfer all of this responsibility to Israel, which they should be taking every bit of responsibility for this, because they strong-armed the United States into this war. Nobody else. Israel did. And they should be held accountable. Not American soldiers who are over there, and we're watching videos of them and their bases getting attacked right now. It should be Israel's bases getting attacked by Iran, because they are the ones at war with Iran right now. We don't wish for war to happen with anybody. We don't wish for anybody to die. We don't wish for violence. But what we do wish for is common sense and the sanctity of humanity, and for all people. You know, this isn't about Christian or Muslim or Jews. This is about humanity. What is the future? You know, the transcendence of humanity depends on our ability to actually move forward with a future that actually benefits all of us, you know, again, collectively as a human race. But instead, we are killing each other, and we are having these race wars and these religious wars. And who benefits? There's only one group of people who does benefit from this, according to the data, and that is the state of Israel. This is not all Jewish people we're blaming for anything. This is an analytical insight from myself, who studied criminal justice my entire life. I was very passionate about it, became a cop, became an entrepreneur just because that allows you to be more free, right? You do all these things, and just from my research, my analysis, it appears to me that Israel is the only country who's going to benefit from all of this. They are going to be the next global superpower. So again, we played a lot of these videos in the video I showed you in the beginning. Again, here's that video again of military troops sharing wild footage capturing a moment the U.S. military U.S. missile launches to intercept an incoming Iranian projectile misses. So this Iranian missile gets right through these defense systems. Again, we already watched this, but it's still crazy to watch. Still crazy to watch. This could have been U.S. troops. Why is this not this? Again, we don't wish for this to happen to anybody. My point, though, is that this shouldn't be America enduring this right now. This shouldn't be United States troops in this video. This should be Israel in this video. Sorry, but it's true. I mean, this is not our war to fight. Again, Iran. So what you're watching now is two heat-seeking missiles, or pretty much defense anti-missile systems from the U.S. right here where my cursor is circling. And this other one coming in is an Iranian missile. And so both of these basically miss the Iranian missile. Iranian missile continues coming down. U.S. military tries to throw out one more anti-missile system. Misses, and then look at that. Look at how close that got to our own troops. Crazy part is that these guys are laughing. And again, this is from the Raw Alerts account. Be sure to follow Raw Alerts. Great account for following information on X and what's kind of going on. Wanted to save this too. I kind of wanted to go through this. The CIA spy reveals a wild take on these global elitist events that most people will be shocked to hear. Trilateral Commission, World Banking Power, Rockefeller era, population debates. Why these conversations will still come up whenever global influence is discussed. This is from Julian Dorey. He's been, I just started seeing him pop up in the algorithm pretty much right after the Epstein files were released, but great account to follow. Be sure to check out some of his content, but let's listen to this video. We'll listen to this one
people
for sure.
Below them too, but what percentage of the Trilateral Commission, if you had to broadly guess, do you think is influenced by bankers around the world?
Oh, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. Sure.
The reason
I love this guy. He's very smart.
I asked that is because, again, I love this supra term that Tucker came up with.
I think it's
a great
spot
visual,
on.
right?
Yeah.
So presidents of the power countries around the world.
Remember, if you guys are tuning in, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, spread the information. This is an info war, right? So we got to awaken the masses.
All the ones that actually matter at the UN, right? So think like US, China, Russia. And then, the people below them too. But above that, you got, let's say, the fixer class, like the Epsteins of the world, who really hold the power to pull the strings on the Peasant right here, who are the presidents and kings and all that shit. And then above that, you have the people who finance them.
Yep.
And the people who finance them
Rockefellers,
as bankers,
Rothschilds.
if you want to look at this
Soros.
way, and it's fair to do it right now, look at things like financing wars to make money and profit off death, which also we could even get into the conversation of them trying to manage population control in doing so. Is that a ridiculous statement?
I think that's a conversation that ought to be out there. Yeah. For the
What
public.
makes you think we should have that conversation? Like what
Because everybody's getting caught.
kinds of things that you've heard?
Population control and even the reverse of that.
Because Bill Gates is being exposed for saying it, that he wants to lower the population to 0.
Is something that is now making headlines. I read an article just in the past week or two that China likely does not have 1.1 billion people, that they've consistently lied about their population.
What do you guys think about the China narrative? Do you think we're seeing a lot of propaganda? Like, do you think China really is the rising city? Maybe if anybody's been to China, let us know in the chat. If you've been to China, if you see what's really going on there, is it propaganda that we see on Twitter X, right? Is China, is Hong Kong really the city of the future, or is actually everything that we see a controlled surveillance state, a hyper surveillance state? I think it's a little bit in between, right in the middle, right? That's kind of where I see the truth being. What do you guys think?
And that they probably have something closer to 650 million or 700 million people, but they want the rest of the world to believe that they have all these people because it makes the case for these strong economic numbers that they're always putting out, which also are probably not true. A country like Greece
Made sense because there's a lot of high rises in China that are completely vacant.
Greece is in trouble because Greece went through
Greece has always been in trouble historically on the map.
this very long-term economic, it was a depression. It wasn't even a recession. It was a depression. And so much of the educated middle class, doctors, lawyers, engineers, businessmen, they just left. They went to the US, the UK, Australia, Canada, Germany. And so there almost is no middle class or no upper middle class in Greece. It just left. Well,
And that's happening in America. All the entrepreneurs are going somewhere else because it's too expensive to do business in America. The company Ripple, XRP, they almost left America. Almost became a completely foreign company. The SEC nearly pushed out the company Ripple from operating in the U.S. It's a U.S. company. And that's why you do see Amazon and all these other companies like Tesla, they go to China because it's cheaper to manufacture their products there, right? That's why you see a lot of the Democrats, you see a lot of entrepreneurs being very Democrat leaning, right? They understand that importing. Let me give you a little reference real quick. As an entrepreneur myself, let me tell you, a CEO, you find foreign talent in the workspace, in the entrepreneurial space, in the freelancer space, on Upwork, on online.ph, right? All these different websites. You can source all this foreign talent. Wouldn't it be easier if these people just lived right in America to build your cars for you and to do all this stuff, and you had their complete loyalty, and you could pay them at an extremely low price, like way too low of a price, kind of like you see on Upwork, right? You see it on Indeed. You see it everywhere today, underpriced, right? But you bring these people over here now, it's like you can pay them even less, and they'll work because they want to live in America. So it's a great deal for the foreigners and the illegal immigrants who are coming into the United States today because they're getting everything handed to them by the ruling class, right? Because again, we're getting the middle class, the upper middle class, like he's saying right here, are getting pushed out of the economy.
the economy then is unsustainable because there's nobody there to create jobs. There was a piece years ago in the Washington Post saying if you look at the shrinkage in Russia's population, if it keeps declining at its current rate, you're going to like this. In 150 years, there won't be any Russians. They just won't exist anymore.
What's the State Department?
Russians, talk about Europe. Look at Europe being completely overtaken by illegal immigrants, literally boats just waving in to the shores, just like coming in. And you have Israelis who are sitting there, part of these nonprofit NGO kind of DEI programs, and they're saying, hey, illegals, come on in. And if you don't believe me, we'll pull up the video after this. I can pull it right up. Type it into Twitter X if you want to do it yourself. Just type in Israelis on UK beach or something like that. Israelis allowing immigrants in. Type that into X and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And it's a video of this NGO group, it looks like. And it's an Israeli, they're from Israel. And they're welcoming in all these illegal immigrants who are coming in on like literal boats. They're coming in on boats, like a pure invasion. And these Israelis are just letting them in. This is real things. This is real. So we're talking about Russia, how Russia might not be Russia. It's like, well, let's talk about the UK. Let's talk about Scotland. Let's talk about Ireland, where my people came from, right? Let's talk about Germany. Let's talk about all of the white countries. What's happening to the white countries? They're getting completely annihilated right now by illegal immigration. And the illegal immigrants are getting all the jobs. So again, all the natives to these countries, it's not that these people are racist at all. The natives are getting pushed out. And all these refugees are getting let in, and they're being given all the benefits. And that is what's happening. So ultimately, that leaves us to say, and that leaves the argument. The counter argument is, well, Americans need to work harder. Well, America was never America. Well, America is not a white country. And it becomes these different arguments. But it's like, well, actually, that's not true. America is a white country, right? And again, this has to do with what he's saying in this video, because he's talking about how Russia may not be Russia one day. And it's like, well, that's more of the problem that we're seeing with Europe today. Again, the Great Replacement, the Kalergi Plan. Type it into Twitter ads in the search bar. Tell me what you find.
Gonna do that.
I know, right? Then
out.
what do you do? Now, of course, immigration changes that calculus. But
That's exactly what I was saying. Let's listen.
We're talking about the possible. What's the word? The possibility that countries just can no longer remain viable as countries.
Yep. He said it all. And that's what's happening in the United States right now. We got another video from Psyop Anime. He did, in fact, send it all. So, again, we had one viral video from Psyop Anime, and it showed Trump at the State of the Union address walking up to the podium, and Ilhan Omar in the video that PSYOP Anime made just a week ago. It shows Donald Trump walking up to the podium and Ilhan Omar is screaming, seething. It's basically repeating and showing you what happened at the State of the Union address when Ilhan Omar was like screaming at Trump along with Rashida Tlaib. And in the anime, it shows Trump laughing at her. He says, these people are crazy. And they are crazy, right? And it was a powerful video. I loved this anime video because it was powerful because it shows the USA team in this little 20-second anime clip. Not this one that we're about to watch. Hold on. Not this one that we're about to watch, but the anime video that was just made by PSYOP Anime. I loved it because it just set the tone for America. Like, America is back. America is back. Like, it was the best. So this is the other video. I've been totally following this account. Follow PSYOP Anime. Great content, great edits all the time. Check it out. Oh, sorry. Don't pay attention to that. Again, I think this so accurately depicts what's happening in the United States today. You have Trump basically like a superhero, forced to kind of make these decisions. I love this part because this is probably what happened. I think this is supposed to be Netanyahu right here. The Iranian president. Again, it shows the intelligence operatives. As long as your Iron Dome holds. Gotta love the war. Gotta love the PSYOP war, baby. We're in it. There's no going back, right? So we might as well have some fun. No, Israel are the barbarian. Israel is the barbarians, but that's okay. We still love this edit. Great content every time from PSYOP Anime. Give him a follow on X. So here's some more footage from open source intel. This was just 5 hours ago. This is wild footage from ballistic missiles over Jerusalem from the last barrage. Again, this is in Israel. That's happening. It's all going down. After all this time, this is what's happening. So here's a good intel update. Another great account I recommend following on X. They're staying up to date on the entire war in Iran rather nicely. Let's take a look at this video.
Right to it.
Definitely wanted to show you guys this because it's a good account. Covers everything that's happening geopolitically. Pretty good updates that you get from this.
Hello again everyone and welcome back to the Underground. This is the Intel Update for February 28th, 2026. Due to current events, this will be more of a topical special update on the large-scale regional war that has broken out in the Middle East, so let's get right to it. This morning, large-scale bombing campaigns began throughout the nation of Iran as...
So again, he's explaining exactly the military activity that was taking place in the Triangle of Death here, the Middle East, which stems from Israel to Turkey to Iran here and then back down to Israel.
American and Israeli forces began their war to topple the Ayatollah. This campaign has been dubbed Operation Epic Fury by the Pentagon, with the Israelis calling their component Operation Roaring Lion. Based solely on President Trump's address to the nation that was posted early this morning, the goal of this operation...
Again, this is all unclassified footage, and if you are tuning in, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Spread the information. The info war never ends.
Operation is regime change, which so far has taken the form of American forces bombing Iranian targets to assist the Iranian people in rising up and overthrowing the Ayatollah, which we'll get to in a moment. American airstrikes have been conducted in Tehran, Isfahan, Tabriz, Shiraz, and many other locations. Right now, it's challenging to see what actually got hit due to the internet and power outages throughout the nation. However, we can see what they did in response. Immediately after the first bombs were dropped, Iranian forces retaliated with...
Yeah, so that video from earlier was confirmed in Iran. I said earlier that it was in Iran, and I was correct. So I just wanted to make sure I had that video right, but that was in Iran.
whatever munitions they had ready for an immediate and knee-jerk response. Most of these munitions were long-range Shahed-136 drones or some of their longer-range cruise missiles. So as of right now, the big guns have not come out when it comes to the Iranian response just yet. Nevertheless, Iranian targeting efforts have been so far fairly minimal, all things considered.
There has been missiles that have hit the state of Israel, and there has been, right now, as far as we know, Israelis are bunkering underground under the city of Tel Aviv right now. Tel Aviv is under attack. That's definitely happening. But the Iron Dome is taking, the Iron Dome's holding up, as far as we know at least. But reports are coming out that it's not holding up so well. So we'll see what happens. But overall, it doesn't matter. The United States is involved, so we're going to win. I mean, this is an unwinnable war on Iran's front, you know, and honestly, it's an unwinnable war on Israel's front without America. So the U.S. is basically being forced to be the mediator in this war, which now has to be on offense. Pretty ridiculous.
Civilian aviation has largely been grounded throughout most of the region as Iranian and American cruise missiles pass each other in the skies on their way to their targets. Kuwait International Airport was hit by Iranian forces a few hours ago, with Terminal 1 being severely damaged. Structures in downtown Dubai have also been targeted, with various Palm hotels receiving direct hits this morning. To protect against the potential deployment of ballistic missiles within Iran itself, American and Israeli forces are flying Reaper drones in many cities around the nation, which are probably watching and waiting for a
And again, we're all monitoring this situation here. Anybody who's in intelligence and kind of doing this kind of stuff, we all kind of know there's just no, like, Iran is never going to give up because that's part of their military doctrine, their military history. If you've ever read on Iran, they're strong, they're a powerful military. Powerful force, much more powerful than Iraq, much more powerful than Israel in some aspects. In some respects, Israel, of course, has domination on AI, Air Force, cyber, and all of these things. So, you know, ultimately, though, the Iron Dome, paid for by the U.S. taxpayer, you're welcome, Israel, is essentially holding up the entire fight for Israel. So again, we all understand who's working on this, who's basically working on this issue right now. We understand U.S. is going to be in this war for a long time. There's really no getting out of this now. There's no going back.
Ballistic missile TEL or transporter erector launcher to pop out of a tunnel somewhere, which will then be struck. This is pure speculation on my part, but locals in Shiraz have made posts on social media indicating that they can visually see drones flying around overhead. So that's my guess as to what they are doing. Hit the first wave of targets, and while those strikes are ongoing, put ISR assets overhead to hopefully catch the Iranians trying to launch a ballistic missile, and hopefully call in an airstrike on it before it's launched.
Again, if you're watching this, we're covering all of the ground operations that have been happening in Iran right now, kind of the attacks that we've been seeing, some of the launches and the strikes against Israel, and really all the activity in the Strait of Hormuz, the Gulf of Oman, and this entire area.
Either way, it's a very dynamic situation. Things are changing by the minute, and it's been a very busy morning so far. This afternoon, the Iranians announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, though at the present time it is unclear as to if they have the naval capability to enforce that. Some strikes have occurred at their...
Again, we have to remember that China is also sending their fleets out here. So we also have Chinese fleets that are pretty much watching, and then we also have an Israeli fleet out here in the Gulf of Oman as well, where the U.S. aircraft carriers are in the USS Gerald Ford is sitting.
Naval facilities on the Persian Gulf, however, that's really hard to confirm at the moment. Commercial vessels appear to slowly be getting the word to avoid the strait, and the White House a few minutes ago just recommended all commercial shipping to avoid the area for a while as the war continues. Around the entire Middle East, several other nations have become involved, officially making this a region-wide war. Following the Iranian strikes in other Middle East...
And again, he's probably about to get into it. Iran ended up striking Jordan as well, and they basically struck Jordan. They struck the UAE, which Dubai right here, as we can see, and they struck Israel. So ultimately, there's a lot of activity in the Middle East right now. It's looking, again, another 20, 30-year war. That's the moral of this entire story, is we just got ourselves into another 20 to 30-year war. And Trump has a bigger target on his head now than ever before, as we do have Israeli and Iranian sleeper cells in the United States as we speak.
Eastern nations, the Saudis have announced that they will be willing to conduct strikes of their own in Iran as well. So now the Saudis are playing ball and will probably begin flying bombing sorties against the Iranians as well. In the Horn of Africa, the Houthis in Yemen have announced that they will also begin targeting American vessels in the region once again in response to the strikes, which, if these remarks are serious and not just the usual rhetoric, could mean that the United States might be facing a multi-front war such that it is. None of these forces pose a particular risk
I would agree with that.
to the U.S. Navy in the region, but again, if we crack open our history of warfare textbooks, we remember that the purpose of a disadvantaged adversary opening up an additional front is mostly to pull resources from another front. The Houthis don't really have the resources to do much, but what they can do is hit Israel with their missiles, which they proved last year. And a destroyer that has to hang out in the southern Red Sea to provide this missile defense is a destroyer that can't be elsewhere. So the Houthis might not...
Yep, so Iran has been... That's pretty much their main go right now, is Iran's using their missile surplus to basically put that against any U.S. vessels, embassies, and again, key locations in Tel Aviv and other locations in Israel, probably South Israel as well.
Not be that combat effective, but they are certainly combat effective enough to divide American resources throughout the region. In Lebanon, similar efforts are underway as Hezbollah takes advantage of the fray to launch their standard short-range rockets into Israel. The Iron Dome has been busy all morning intercepting missiles and drones, both from Hezbollah and the Iranians. It is also interesting to note that the timing of the first strikes is significant. Daytime bombing...
Also, I wanted to interject. Important to note that reports have come out that Netanyahu has fled to Berlin. So big news there. Whatever that means, that is reported to be happening right now. And he also did put out a statement, but we're going to be watching that later, right after this video. We only got about 5 minutes left of this video right here that we're watching.
Raids are unusual in this case and provide some insight on the targeting efforts at large. Most of the time, deliberate targeting efforts are carried out during POD, or period of darkness, usually in the middle of the night. This is for two main reasons. Usually you know where the bad guys are located and also where civilians are located, which is usually in bed in their homes. So bombing missions of this scale are usually conducted at night so as to reduce overall civilian casualties.
And of course, the element of surprise.
There is also the side benefit of the concealment the darkness provides. In this case, the very first explosions were reported in Tehran just after 8 a.m. local time. Though it is speculative, to me this indicates that the Americans and Israelis were trying to catch Iranian troops at their posts, or that some time-sensitive trigger was tripped, probably regarding the strikes targeting senior leadership, which is not surprising but interesting to note.
Again, what do you guys think they did to target the 40-plus Iranian leaders? Again, 40-plus. That sounds a lot like the pager operation that Israel took, that Israel ended up doing on Hamas, where they took out like all of the entire Hamas Hezbollah leadership just from with the pager phones. Pretty impressive operation. I wonder if this was similar, if it was drones. That's kind of what I think. Or was it missiles? Was it just basic U.S. basic U.S. aircraft, or was it Israel? Again, from what we know, it's Israel. Israel allegedly, reportedly, infiltrated the Iranian security, and that's how they were able to do all of this. But what do you guys think? What do you guys know? Am I wrong?
So moving forward, all things considered, what is the actual plan here? Well, to be honest, we don't really know for sure. The White House really just went full send with their largest air campaign since the surge in Iraq in 2003.
Like, do you think Trump is implicated? Like, how implicated is Trump that we have to be in a full-fledged war with Iran, another Iraq 2.0? And this is the guy who ran on, like, ending wars. Like, he ran on not getting us into a war with Iran. The only thing he did say to suggest that he was going to get us into a war with Iran is that he was going to demand that Iran end their nuclear program. And that was one key piece of evidence that I think a lot of Trump supporters missed, is when Trump said, I am going to end the... Sorry, we just got a weird comment there on a different platform. But he said, I'm going to end the Iranian nuclear program. And he said this. This was a massive statement that was made by Trump. And so it affected everything in the future that we're seeing now. So it's one thing we missed. It's one thing that Trump, the MAGA audience, the America First audience even, they missed it. The only guy who really caught it was Nick Fuentas. And then now he's basically the big shit, right? Because he's the one who was saying it first. And God bless him for it. While all these other people were cowards and weren't willing to. So let's go on.
Without really fully explaining the why behind it all. So as of President Trump's address this morning, this whole thing is about regime change and openly encouraging a revolution. In terms of how this seems to work out, it's
Quite
anyone's...
literally, Trump actually did say to the Iranian people that I am, in quote, I'm giving you the opportunity to take back your freedom and to overthrow your government. He literally said that, and we're going to watch that clip in a minute.
Yes, the U.S. could simply bomb all military hardware in the country and just walk away and leave the smoking crater for the civilians to deal with, which certainly seems like that's the plan right now. Right now, it looks like the general plan is just to bomb everything and not really care about any power vacuum that might arise if and when the Ayatollah and his government falls. Because as of right now,
the United States is trying to push Iran into a submission. The United States is trying to push Iran into a full-fledged submission. Denuclearization, no more enrichment, no more self-defense is what that actually means for the entire state of Iran collectively, right? And so the reason this is a problem is because this is kind of unprovoked. Outside of the fact that, yeah, we've had threats from Iran over the years and we have our issues with them, this is not a war we should be fighting. Again, I keep reiterating this because it is so important to, make it so clear. We should not be in the Middle East at all fighting this war. This is a war between Iran and Israel only. And if the United States was not involved in this war, I honestly don't know how much support Israel would even have. I don't know how well Israel would be able to defend themselves without America's support. So Israel is working. They're taking advantage of the American alliance, whatever you want to call that. And they're taking advantage of buy-offs and blackmail, and it's working because they were the more responsible people. And again, our politicians were not. So they did stupid stuff when they secured their power, and they allowed themselves to become corrupted, incriminated, and now they are completely owned and occupied. This is what happens. And now, look at the map. This is what we have now because of a bunch of irresponsible politicians.
This is not a certainty. Israeli-controlled media aside, there are no reports on the Ayatollah's whereabouts or what his status is. The U.S. bombed his official residence in Tehran during the first wave of strikes. However, he hasn't been living there for some time.
Yeah, it is important to note that only the state of Israel, the Israeli press, Reuters, and Trump and Al Jazeera. A lot of those outlets were reporting that Khamenei was killed and assassinated in this operation. But do we know that for sure? We don't know that for sure. We always have to ask questions. We have to go where the facts lead us.
Bunker to the north for several.
He could still be alive.
Several days at least, and there are no indications of whether or not we actually hit that site just yet. But again, until more information comes out, it's impossible to know where the Ayatollah is at the moment. On the home front, as a result of the regional war that has broken out in the Middle East, threats within the American homeland are elevated. I know that everyone is concerned about the potential for sleeper cell activation.
Oh yeah,
throughout the United States.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's any day, any day. Pretty much at any time. It's probably happening now as we go back in the X algorithm. Over the next week to the next month, you're gonna see a series of terrorist operations happening in the United States. Some of these events will be actually conducted by the state of Israel, provocateuring and masquerading as Iran. And then there will actually be real Iranian sleeper cells. So there will be a mix of both. We're at a war with both Iran, with Israel, and with pretty much everybody, with China, who's buying up American land, farmland particularly, and then we have the illegal immigrants who are also coming in, the Somalians taking over Minnesota, Minneapolis. Again, once were very Scandinavian states, right? Very white European states. Now they're not. And they're just filled with fraud. Okay. But the point of this entire argument is that this is what happens when we get ourselves involved in wars we shouldn't be in. We are seeing a collapse of an empire, the United States empire, because of this war.
Right now, this has been a very infamous threat for many, many, many years. However, this is also always an unknown risk that we can't really do a lot with in terms of mitigation. If the sleeper cells are real and they are activated, there's not a whole lot the average American can do about it. It would make sense for these cells to exist, surely they do, but in terms of how many and where they're located, it's going to be impossible to know for sure. The first time the United States struck the Iranian nuclear program, nothing really happened, no sleeper cells were activated.
Again, what do you guys think about all of this?
activated throughout the U.S., so there is some credence to the argument that this is kind of an overblown threat. However, once again, we're in a very dynamic and very dangerous world these days, so it would be wise to just consider that, yeah, there are probably some at least lone wolf attack plans out there just waiting to go into the operational phase.
You can guarantee that.
More broadly,
no matter where you live, you need to be urgent of that. You need to be paying attention to that. Say that as a cop. See it everywhere. It's happening. It's real. It's going on. You need to have your guns. You need to have money. You need to enrich yourself, whether it's through entrepreneurship and business. You need to head for the hills. Get your guns. Start a podcast or something. Spread the word. Share this video. That'll help. And ultimately, you need to just protect your family because now we're in it. And who knows? I mean, I recommend people get out of the cities because that's where a lot of shit's going to go down here in the next few months as retaliation attacks hit from the state of Iran. If you're caring about self-awareness and your safety, be careful where you're going. Public places, you need to be watching out for these things.
That are presented by various factions within the United States are a lot more clear. It is far, far more likely for a far-left Reddit tier terrorist to conduct a lone wolf attack over this due to their own radicalization, rather than a deliberately planted sleeper cell agent. From my wheelhouse, this is the risk that is worth focusing on and being aware of. There are a lot of crazy people out there, people who desperately want to use violence for some political cause, even one that they might not have any skin in themselves. Other than more kinetic terrorist attacks, protests and demonstrations are likely to break out in the usual places, and this morning the London Metro Police announced several pop-up demonstrations taking place throughout the city, which have caused travel disruptions for many people. It's Saturday and perfect protesting weather throughout most of the United States and Western Europe, so that's probably going to be on the menu for the next few days as airstrikes continue. This is most certainly not a one-and-done strike.
Again, that also tells us, be careful if you're flying. Have common sense. Don't be flying today with the things that are going on. Self-awareness. Pay attention. Don't be a part of a statistic.
Clear facilities like we've seen before. This campaign will last at least a few days. Similarly, in the U.S., we will probably see protests break out in the short term, with more organized efforts continuing as the war drags on. Once again, I want to be explicitly clear that we do not know the true scale of this operation. This could be a drop in the bucket, or it could transition to a much more substantial campaign. We just don't know. This has not been explained to us by our government, and we're just having to watch this like everybody else.
Horrible.
The next satellite passes of the region are a few days
Great analysis, though, right?
away, and as of right now, the U.S. government has not stated which sites were struck, so we're just going to have to wait. So that's the situation as it stands right now. Not a whole lot to go on, but hopefully we will at least get some answers as time goes on. We've been expecting this for a long time, but even still, I know that a lot of people aren't feeling super great about this right now, which I understand more than you could possibly imagine.
This was coming.
But we'll get through it all right. No matter what happens overseas or here at home, it is our responsibility to do the best we can no matter what. So stay frosty, keep your head on a swivel, and do your utmost to help improve the world around you in whatever little way you can. For tracking these events in as real time as I can manage, I plan to
be sure to follow this guy's account again.
Be constantly updating all of my mapping products throughout the next few days. It takes a lot of time because every single point has to be geolocated and corroborated if possible, but we'll get there. If you want to follow along with the work I do, there are many different ways to visualize my work. The most popular will probably be the dashboard I have created. But if you want to filter events by type or date, or if you want to...
Again, this account's called S2 Underground. S2 Underground. Be sure to follow him on X. He's giving breaking news on Iran and everything happening in the Middle East. Covers all the geopolitical military movement happening in the area. And we like to cover those things.
Create your own sort of dashboard arrangement. Just viewing my online common intelligence picture is probably what you want. And of course, if you are a user of ATAC, I also publish KMZs of all of this, which can be easily imported as needed. So that's all I have for today. I will hope to provide more information in a standard wire report as it becomes available.
Be sure to go follow his account. Again, that's S2 Underground. As we continue looking at the news here, first responders are digging through the rubble. This was just 4 hours ago, posted by Trey Yinks. Again, he's a Fox 2 News reporter in Israel right now, covering everything happening. Tel Aviv, at the site of a direct ballistic missile impact, we've seen 2 civilians taken from the debris. So let's take a look at this.
To look for survivors, because you can see here the site of a direct impact in Tel Aviv. First responders are currently digging through the debris of the building behind me. They just pulled 2 civilians out. There were a number of...
Buffering.
But the ongoing ballistic missile fire is making it incredibly difficult for these first responders to look for survivors, because every time the siren goes off, they have to rush into a nearby shelter and get underground. But you see here the massive amount of destruction.
Again, this is in Tel Aviv, Israel. So this was one of the airstrikes that got through the Iron Dome in this video that you're watching right here.
To this building, a residential block, and they are bringing dogs in. There are still firefighters on the scene putting out the blaze inside the building, and they're using megaphones to call out to see if there are any survivors still trapped under the debris.
Yeah, so war's happening. It's happening in Iran, it's happening in Israel, and it's going to be happening in the United States. Those sleeper cells are going to be activated. So everybody needs to be armed. You need to be aware of what's happening. No more sports, no more football, no more beer, no more weed, no more any of that, no more drugs. You need to be focused on the future. You need to be focused on what's happening to your country, to every other country. Because the more you know, guess what? Knowledge is not power. Power is power. But you need to understand the mechanisms of power and how things really work and what's going on when it comes to this stuff, because this is real power. You want to have power in business, you want to have power in entrepreneurship, it needs to be done by understanding the way the world really works and what's actually going on.
This is the most significant impact since the war erupted early this morning with the Israeli strikes and American strikes against Iran, where we can confirm Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed along with 40 top leaders from the Islamic regime.
Yeah, so that definitely changes things for the entire war right now. I mean, Iran, 40 plus supreme leaders just killed. That's wild. That's definitely going to change the entire geopolitical spectrum of things. Massive destruction in Tel Aviv streets right now. Buildings collapsed, debris everywhere, and people are walking through the streets. Again, more credit to Mario Naufal. Again, that's happening in Tel Aviv, Israel right now. And I thought this was a good clip too, but go to this account, go to this Solari report by Catherine Austin Fitz. I think she's great. Has a lot of good content. I've been following a lot of what she's been saying. She's been covering the war a lot and what's kind of going on. That definitely covers like financial coup d'etats and kind of how it works with economic collapse, regime change, and how we've always done it as the United States government, as the military, right? Okay, and awesome. I was really excited to watch this clip. S Clips posted this. This was a repost of Nick Fuentas explaining the geopolitical situation in the Middle East right now. It's a 4-minute video, but it's definitely worth watching. Let's take a look at this.
They control. All that's left is Iran. Once Iran is out of the picture, Israel dominates the whole region. Israel becomes the only nuclear power in the region. They control the U.S. government.
Yeah, this is why this is such a problem. Okay, with Iran being the number one, with Israel being the number one power of trade. Here's Israel. With Israel being the number one power of trade, how do you think that affects it? If they're going to control the entire Strait of Hormuz right here, right, the entire Strait of Hormuz, then that's going to put the United States in a bad spot. We're no longer going to have that leverage. Israel's basically going to control the entire Middle East. So he's about to talk about that. Let's listen to what he has to say.
They have immense influence in Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar. They control Syria and Jordan by proxy effectively, and Iraq. With Iran out of the picture, they not only control the Middle East. And
I've been following this situation for years, like, again, since 2017, because I do remember Trump saying that, and we are going to denuclearize Iran, that massive statement that Trump made. I remember that, but I remember looking past it. And I looked past all of the Israel first rhetoric that Trump was portraying for such a long time. I didn't want to believe it, right? Like everybody else, like all of the other Trump supporters who voted for him every time, right? I was a loyal Trump supporter, and we all got duped. I mean, Nick Fuentas was right. And ultimately, though, I started listening to Nick Fuentas back in 2016, 2017, because he was right about all of this, and he was saying this from the very beginning.
They control the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, but also the Persian.
I can't believe how correct and accurate Fuentas was on all of this, though, for real. Great analysis.
Gulf. All the oil, all the natural gas, all the commerce, all the shipping that goes through the Red Sea, all the shipping and oil that comes from the Persian Gulf, all of the overland trade routes, the rail, the highways, communications infrastructure, the ports, situated in this area that go from Asia to Europe, from Africa into Europe and Asia. It's all going to go through a region dominated by Israel. That's the big picture. So the United States has spent trillions of dollars. Thousands have died. We have ruined this region. Refugees have poured into Europe and the United States.
Yep. All of this is true. All of this is true.
They hate us. They will carry out terrorist attacks in our lifetimes because of this.
Yes. And it's not even their fault, because we were the ones who got ourselves into this. We were backing Israel this entire time. If it wasn't for the United States, Israel would never be able to accomplish this mission. And that's just pure facts. Nobody would back them either. The U.S. is it. That's pretty much Israel's only ally.
9/11. All of this has happened. Our domestic situation has worsened. Our country's gone bankrupt. Our military has been drawn into this. We can't focus on our real competitor, which is China, so that we could basically level the region and pave the way for an Israeli empire in the Middle East.
Exactly.
That is the big picture.
The main trade route will be Israel, the new Silk Road.
Here. That's the grand strategic.
The Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica.
Revolution that has occurred, starting with the Likud takeover in the late 1970s. And by the way, I'm not making this up. This is all written.
All true. Yep.
It was all written in Oded Yanan's plan for the 1980s. They wrote, and it is their plan, to create a mosaic of statelets. They wanted to disintegrate.
That sounds a lot like Europe, doesn't it?
Great. All of the big Muslim countries, all of the big Arab countries, all the Middle Eastern countries, a big country, and let's just think simply in terms of geoeconomics, a big country with a big population and a big territory can command a lot of resources. It can make a big army.
Absolutely.
Big cities, big schools and universities with big talent pools. Big countries can field big militaries.
Important to note, again, and this is why Israel wants the Greater Israel Project. They want Jordan, they want Lebanon, which they've already taken. They want Syria, which they, again, like Nick said, they own Syria and Jordan by proxy, essentially. They basically own Iraq now, thanks to the United States. So all of this land is already covered, right? But Israel wants Turkey as well. And what do you think happens when Israel takes Turkey? Well, that's definitely going to hurt America, isn't it? That's going to affect our semiconductors. And so ultimately, that's also going to get us into a war with not Iran, with China, who has been saying they're going to, or not with China, with all of these other bordering states, Georgia, Armenia. This is going to be a full-fledged war, and Israel's trying to take all of this land all the way up to Ukraine. So when you understand that, all of this makes more sense. And then they want this little bit of land in Egypt. So that's pretty wild to think about. And they're probably going to succeed at this current rate.
They can have big armies with lots of soldiers. They can have large air forces with big defense industries. They can have advanced scientists that make nuclear weapons. Small countries can't. Small countries with small populations, with small economies, cannot do these things. So what Israel does...
And it's already happening. I mean, there's honestly no avoiding it. Like, the wars have already been won in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan, and Iraq. These places here are essentially retroactively already owned by, really the United States, but Israel. So Israel, when they detach and decouple from the United States here in a couple of years, when we're done with Iran, when enough American troops have died fighting for Iran, what you're going to see basically Israel dominate this entire region that Nick is showing here on the screen.
Decided to do, this is their plan in the late 70s, is we must disintegrate all the big countries into small countries. That way they
sounds a lot like Europe.
Can't oppose us. And that's effectively what they've done. Iraq is being cut up as we speak into northern Iraqi Kurdistan, a Shiite area which is sort of controlled by Iran. Syria is being split up into the Alawites on the west coast, the Sunnis in the rest of the country, the Druze in the south, which is being occupied by Israel. In Lebanon, they're trying to divide up the Shiites from the Christians, from the other groups that reside there.
Yeah, and here we're supposed to solve all of this. The United States is supposed to solve this problem. Look at this. When you understand the Middle East issue and how how just complicated and impossible this issue is, geopolitically speaking, from a military standpoint. We have no business being here. We are such outliers in this war. You have all these countries fighting over this same land, over the Holy Land, and one, none of this is holy, ironically, right? And America's here. A bunch of Europeans are sitting here fighting all these Muslims in this entire space. Why? That makes absolutely no sense unless you understood that Israel controls the United States and that without the United States, Israel cannot own the Greater Israel Project. They cannot accomplish it without the United States' help. And that only then can all of this make sense.
The name of the game is destabilization, dismemberment, sectarianism, division.
Boom.
To make the region easily dominated by Israel. That's the goal. That's why all of this has happened.
100%. Again, I follow Nick Fuentas. Be sure to follow Nick Fuentas. He's great with geopolitical updates and all of those things that are going on. Again, Iranian missiles hits Tel Aviv. We covered that. This was big. The world's iconic Burj Al Arab hotel in Dubai, widely known as the world's only 7-star rating hotel, has been hit by an Iranian drone with footage showing flames rising from the property. Oh, that's interesting. Wonder who lives here. Wonder if there's any powerful people who live here. Crazy. Let's take one more look at this video. Looks like it hit there near the bottom, maybe? Or near here near the top. Looks like that's where the smoke is. Okay, I guess it was. Yeah, I guess it was the bottom. Bottom of the building. Pretty scary stuff. Let's see. Let's look it up. Let's grok it. Who lives here? Who lives in this place? Why was this place targeted? Why was this targeted? Who lives here? That might be... Sorry. Terrible at typing. That might... Oh my god, I hate typing. That might be of interest. Militarily. Okay. Let's just see what it says. I asked, why was this place targeted? Who lives here that might be of interest militarily? So let's see what Grok has to say. I'm just curious. Does Andrew Tate live here? We know Andrew Tate lives in the Middle East. And I thought the reason I'm asking is because Andrew Tate's place looks pretty similar to, I don't know if he lives here or not, but it looks like this could be like a place he lives. So we're looking it up. I just wanted to see, I was just curious, which famous celebrities or people actually live here, who might have been a target here. So again, it's still looking it up. Conflicting reports suggest that fire resulted from debris of an intercepted drone, not a direct hit. The Burj Al Arab, often marketed as the world's only 7-star hotel, was struck amid Iran's broader retaliatory drone and missile strikes on February 28, 2026, following joint U.S.-Israeli airstrike attacks on Iranian facilities earlier that day. Iranian state media and IRGC statements framed that the attacks as were Operation Truthful Promise 4, aimed at U.S. military bases, assets, and allies across the Gulf, including in the UAE, which Iran views as a key hub for American logistics, finance, tech, and military support. Very interesting. Pro-Iranian, pro-Iranian analyst and pre-attack rhetoric highlighted Dubai's vulnerabilities, such as its airport-free zone, financial centers, internet data hubs, Silicon Oasis, and Jebel Ali port as potential Achilles heels for the U.S. operations in the region, implying strides to deter further aggression without direct war. Some eyewitness accounts and social media videos described as a direct hit by an Iranian Shahad 136 kamikaze drone, igniting flames on the hotel's lower facade, with commentators calling it a deliberate escalation to symbolize that nowhere is untouchable and to undermine UAE's soft power and economic stability. Accidental or collateral damage. UAE authorities, including Dubai Media Office and Ministry of Defense, reported intercepting 137 missiles and 209 drones, with debris from one downed drone sparking a minor fire on the hotel's exterior, quickly contained by civil defense with no casualties at the site. This aligns with broader reports of scattered strikes on Dubai's Palm Jumeirah Island airport, causing evacuations and 4 injuries, and other areas suggesting Burj Al Arab may not have been a primary target but caught in the crossfire of Iran's barrage against. Yeah, I don't believe that. Obviously, this was to target somebody of interest. As for who lives there, the Burj Al Arab is a luxury hotel, not a residential building, so no one permanently resides in it. It hosts temporary guests in its 202 suites, typically ultra-wealthy tourists, celebrities, business tycoons, and dignitaries paying $1,000 to $25,000 per night. No reports indicate military personnel or figures of strategic interest were present during the strike. Okay, yeah, like they'd really tell us that. Evacuations involved standard high-end clientele with no casualties or notable individuals highlighted in the coverage. If any VIPs with military ties were staying, defense contractors or officials using Dubai as a hub, it hasn't been substantiated in available accounts, and the incident appears unrelated to specific occupants. I don't know how much I believe that. What do you guys think? I definitely don't believe that. I think clearly they targeted this place because there was somebody of high importance up here. Maybe it was Netanyahu. Maybe it was Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate lives in Dubai. So I was actually genuinely curious about that. So again, an Iranian missile struck after Qatar's air defense system failed to intercept it. We already watched that. So we've covered a lot of these stories that are pretty much new on X right now and everything that's going out. Again, so it looks like we have a community note on one of these videos that I bookmarked. This video shows a fire in part of Hudaydah, a.k.a. Hudaydah, on July 20th, 2024, caused by retaliatory Israeli strikes. So this is not from 2026, so that's important to note. Again, this was the actual statement that was made by Trump, and again, you guys can go back and watch that, but that was him essentially declaring war on Iran, and that was the big statement. Anonymous has been putting their videos out, and again, I did want to play this, and just I found this interesting. Let's hear what Anonymous has to say. A message from Anonymous. We are Legion.
While you were sleeping, the U.S. and its controlling hand, Israel.
This looks like it was just some random person who put on a anonymous mask, and they just wanted to make this under a dummy account, I'm guessing, like a bot account. That's my guess, because it doesn't look like the typical anonymous setup, right? With the green staticky television, with the creepy vibes.
Launched Operation Roaring Lion. They want you to believe this is a sudden response to an existential threat in Iran, but look at the evidence, because you don't move 2 carrier strike groups and a global satellite mesh into position overnight. This isn't a reaction, but it's a pre-planned regime overthrow that's been sitting in a desk drawer for years.
Decades more like.
Waiting for the right crisis to justify the carnage. But while they drop bunker busters on Tehran to decapitate another nation's system, they are executing a different type of silent coup right here at home.
Yes, he's talking about America. He should be, at least. The United States and the coup that's happening in America. This war that we're going to have with Iran will effectively destroy the United States and our power in the entire Middle East. So this is definitely a big problem.
Under the cover of Emergency Directive 26-03, the predators of this administration are forcing a marriage between the states and the AI giants. They are using the Iran threat and
Palantir
national security as a crowbar to install hunting.
And then also Anthropic and Claude now.
Tools.
They're working with, or DeepSeek basically stole all of Claude and Anthropic AI companies, if you didn't know, which you can basically use these GPTs directly through ChatGPT, right? A lot of people use this every day for social media, SEO. They use Claude specifically for that. So everybody's using Claude AI, which is owned by Anthropic, which was basically hacked. And all of this data was stolen by the Chinese AI company DeepSeek, which essentially is a ChatGPT 2.0. And they stole all of this data from Claude, and basically it's become an entire danger to the entire U.S. military and our cybersecurity infrastructure. So all of that's under threat too. But all of this was under threat during, if you read the book Spy Fail, it talks all about this. It talks all about the entire United States and how we lost our power over cybersecurity and our control over cybersecurity a long time ago. Really during the Obama administration, but even before that. North Korea, a lot of different countries have attacked the United States and through cyber warfare. And it's probably what's going to be coming. And I believe that Israel, with it having all the power, all the data, owning Palantir, right? Alex Karp, he's Jewish, he's Israeli. With all of these things considered, I think what I see happening is a massive cyber attack. And I think the Iranians will be blamed for it, or the Russians will be blamed for it. It'll be anybody, maybe even the Chinese could be blamed, but ultimately it'll be Israel who does it. And that's my prediction. That's what I think will happen, but we'll see.
Deep within our private networks. They tell us it's to stop Iranian hackers, but the real goal is the Genesis mission, which I've spoken about in previous videos, and it's a total merger of government authority and corporate AI.
Sure.
They are building a single, centralized nervous system to monitor and manage us, the people. And don't be fooled by the Golden Dome or the Iron Beam, because this war is their live fire laboratory.
Yes.
They are using Iranian lives and our tax dollars to field test autonomous drone swarms and brain computer. Because they want to see how fast their algorithms can unalive before they bring those same security solutions to our own streets.
Yeah, that's 100% what's happening. All of this is a test run. They're trying out all of the new drone technology, and they're going to use this against the average populace. You watch and you wait. There's going to come a day where, Israel or whoever it is who has control over the AI, they're going to basically use everything that you've been seeing on X for the past couple years now. The drone warfare, the hunter-killers, all of these different forms of technology. The insectoid surveillance that we have, where it's a little fake. It'll be like a little fake mosquito or a little fake fly on the wall, but it's actually a listening device. These things are real. These are all developed by DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and the Lockheed Martin and Boeing, all these different companies, defense contracting companies, Tesla, SpaceX works on a lot of this, right? Starlink. We have all these different, this is what he's talking about. OpenAI, ChatGPT, PayPal, right? This is the PayPal mafia, how it all really came together. This is exactly who he's talking about. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg. You have Alex Karp in this group. You have Larry Ellison, especially, acquired TikTok for $14 billion. Also acquired Paramount. And Paramount just acquired Warner Brothers. So pretty crazy. Money's being made. The Jews are doing very good. And the American people are not. The American country is not. And it's because, again, our politicians are corrupt.
They are already whispering about a digital curfew here in the U.S. to protect the grid, and they want the power to flip our switch if we start seeing the truth. They want us scared, in the dark, and divided. The system doesn't protect us, but
they want the Walking Dead outcome. They want the iRobot outcome. They want the Terminator 2 outcome. Elon Musk has said that many times. Not necessarily that he wants that, but that he sees that being a real risk.
Processes us instead, and it's time we stopped feeding the machine that builds our own cages. Stay awake and stay united. We do not forgive, we do not forget. Anonymously enlightening out.
That's not like the correct. Usually they'd say, we are Legion. But that's okay. They almost got it right. So yes, what do you guys think about the entire war happening? What do you guys think? This was Iran, or the IRGC officially closing the Strait of Hormuz today.
This is Sepah Navy, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. From now on, all navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden. No ship in every type is not allowed to pass from a Strait of Hormuz till next notice.
And they already had that in their doctrines, that they were allowed to close the Strait of Hormuz if they felt like they were under attack from the United States, Israel, or opposing nations. And again, this is going to affect trade, gas prices at massive levels. Okay, gas prices are going to go up. But on the flip side, if you're smart, if you have money to invest, you can make some money from oil futures. Oil futures are going to be going up probably. Not financial advice, due diligence, but that's kind of what I've been watching. Oil futures seem to be doing pretty good, right? Again, let's take a look at the oil futures real quick. Hopefully this works. Goes to all of our markets. Futures. Let's take a look. So again, yeah, crude oil futures. Look at that. All the oil futures are up. Energy futures. Let's take a look at the oil futures and everything that's happening. Okay. When you're looking at all of this, look at these movers. Crude oil futures, Brent last day financial futures, micro WT crude oil futures, oil. New York Harbor, US, all the shipping, right? All the shipping, the exports, anything trade, all of these things are going to be going up. Henry Hub natural gas. Again, but the Dutch TTF natural gas is down, right? But I'm sure we all know that there's reasons for that. Anything that is like a U.S. owned company, our oil prices are going to probably be going up. So again, if you're smart, you're investing in futures. This is the only way, right? As the elites say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Okay, I'm not giving financial advice here, but that's just kind of where I'm sitting. The market's looking pretty stagnant. Everything looks the same as it was before. The fear and greed index is still at 16. We're still at extreme fear levels, so people are still feeling fearful of the markets. I'm curious to see where this is going to be tomorrow on Monday and where this is going to be, especially after the war announcements and all of those things. Okay, but again, Bitcoin's at 67,000. Ethereum's at 2,000. XRP's at $1.42. Binance is at 629. Solana's at 88 bucks. Tron is at 28 cents. Dogecoin at 96 cents. Cardano, 28 cents. Chainlink at $9.08. Monero's at $347.46. Stellar Lumens, which is XLM, 16 cents. So the crypto market's looking pretty strong. We got Litecoin at 55 bucks. Avalanche at $9.28. Shiba Inu's sitting at 0.055879. Who's invested in Shiba Inu? Who's still invested in the meme coins? We also have Kronos sitting at 7 cents or 0.7 cents. And then there's Trump's coin, World Liberty Financial. That is down right now. It's at 11 cents. Yes, 11 cents. And at 30th place, the number one cryptocurrencies. Then we go to the prediction markets, the PolyMarket. We have all of these different predictions, right? We have the Khamenei out as supreme leader. Yes, 99%. A lot of people made money on that. Elon Musk, all of these things, right? So what are the biggest ones? Politics we'll look at. What's trending now? Let's see. Who will Trump nominate for the federal chair? A lot of these are ended. Yep. Look at these results now. Crazy. So the markets are looking a little intense, unpredictable. But ultimately, this is where we're at. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel good? Let's see where gold's at. Gold prices seem to be $5,294.20. Silver's at 94 bucks. Platinum's at 2,375, and palladium's at 1,816. Then at the end of the day, be sure to work with Gold Shark Media. You need to grow your business and entrepreneurship. You want to grow your business and marketing. Work with me. We build AI lead generation systems. It takes me about 48 hours to 7 days, depending on what the project is. I have a team that helps me out, and they're pretty good people, pretty good at what we do. And so it's a lot of fun. I like building AI CRMs. It's kind of a hobby of mine, but I turned it into a business. So you need to manage your leads. You need to manage your websites. Guess what? We own a CRM that does all of that for you. So you can hire us as a digital marketing agency, and we'll just set up your entire CRM. We'll be your digital marketing mechanic. Consider us that. We're just going to fix whatever problems you got in your business. We'll be the freelancers. We'll do all the work. But the goal is we're going to build an AI system, not just an AI system, but a system, an automated system that gets leads for you, follows up with your leads for you, and does it in a manner that's not going to be, it's not going to break in your attributes. It's not going to break when you're reaching out to people. It's pretty organized stuff. Pretty powerful technology. And again, we have the ability to build AI agents. We have the ability to build powerful CRMs that, again, integrate Facebook ads. Again, we have website hosting, domain hosting, all these cool things. And then if you want to use our own software, these are our prices listed on our website. This is not the price to work with us for digital marketing. That all varies. Again, that price varies on your project, but if you're going to use our software, if you're going to use our own CRM, which again allows you to do some pretty cool stuff, right? You're getting everything you need out of it. This allows you to actually white label our software as your own, which is pretty cool, which means you just put your own brand label on top of it. You charge it for what you want, right? It's pretty cool. And at the end of the day, we also have priority tech support, performance guarantee. We got the branded portals for your clients, WhatsApp plus iMessage deep integration, conversational AI employees, support agents plus sales assistant. All of these things we can build for you. We even build the knowledge base within these AI agents. So we're automating your business here. We're building a system, right? Our customers are pretty happy. Again, yeah, we're in this for the long haul. We're trying to be the next company that actually helps contractors, entrepreneurs, really try to just build their own business in a way that is automated, makes sense, that actually, has a foreseeable future, right? And if you want to buy some merch, be sure to do that. You can get a t-shirt, get a mug, all cool stuff, get a snapback. A lot of this is some of our newer merch. This is one of our more popular purchases. We got about a dozen people who's purchased this little turtleneck. I think it's pretty cool. And we actually lowered the prices on all of this stuff too. So buy some merch, support Gold Shark Media and the movement. Again, we help entrepreneurs grow. Follow us on TikTok, Gold Shark Media _, and you'll get daily business motivational content. Sometimes we take a day off. That's okay. But again, this is our merch center. You can get, again, we got free shipping. So be sure to support Gold Shark Media. You want to work with me in real estate? I'm a Michigan real estate agent. I help individuals, buyers, sellers, investors. I help you find your best property, right? So work with me. Got a lot to offer. Again, book a call on my Calendly if you want to talk to me. It has everything here that you're going to need, that we're going to discuss, everything that we're going to talk about. I'm working with a client right now. We're trying to schedule showings. They're an out-of-state investor, and they're looking to get a 1031 tax exchange. Do you know what a 1031 is? If you don't, work with me, and I'll teach you what a 1031 is. I'll teach you how it works, and I'll teach you how we do it with our other clients, how we find them passive income. Nothing more important during a war than passive income, making money, and really making money for your family above all else, right? Testimonials we got here. Again, Gold Shark Media, access to that if you're looking for that. And then I also plugged in our this real estate course that I created for future real estate agents. It's got 1,300 plus state exam practice questions, 200 plus vocab terms, chapter lesson ebooks. This is an online course, a study guide to become a real estate agent. Okay, so this contains pretty much everything that you're going to see on your state licensing exam. Okay, and then you're also going to get everything that you're probably going to see in your 40-hour course, your required 40-hour course in most states that you're going to be required to take. Okay, so you typically, before you become a real estate agent, you got to get your real estate license. And the only way you get that real estate license is you got to take a 40-hour course in most states. And then you have to pass that final exam in that class. And once you pass that final exam, you have to take the state exam on a separate date. And that test is way harder. A lot of people fail it. The average person in real estate will tell you that they passed the first or second time, but guess what? The truth of the matter is most people take about 4 to 6 attempts to pass the real estate exam. So you buy this once, you keep all the value forever. You keep 1,300 practice questions that are directly from the state exam textbooks and the resource textbooks, all of it, directly from it. You want to make more money in your life, you want to make some commissions, this is where you should do. Get a real estate license. I like real estate. It's been working well for me. I mean, I just started doing it, but it's a lot of fun, and we're working with some people who are motivated and want to make money, and to me, there's nothing greater than that. Okay, so passreusa.com or shoot me a DM, and I'll hook you up. We'll hook you up, and we'll get you started on what we're doing in the future. Okay, so again, I guess we'll cover quickly anything new that's in the algorithm right now. So this was 47 minutes ago. While we were streaming, people don't understand how fast hypersonic missiles actually are. Wow. So this is, again, posted 47 minutes ago. I don't even know where this is supposed to be at. But let's take a look. We'll grok it in a minute. Damn, look at that.
Did you see that?
It's wild.
That was fast.
I would guess that that's definitely Israel, because I know for sure that only Israel and the United States have the outer space satellites, the satellite lasers. Okay.
Listen to that song.
A lot of people think that that's a conspiracy theory. It's not. We have satellite lasers. Yes, absolutely. Only the United States, only Israel, China, and then a few other countries. That's power right there, though.
I don't know what.
Crazy. How easy this war is going to be for them to win. It's a little scary to think about it. The United States, we're lucky that we live in America. Okay, so Laura Loomer, who is, again, she's Jewish. James Fishback, the Groyper leftist who is running for governor of Florida. He's not even a leftist. On the GOP ticket, just texted me a video of himself shooting a gun with the following caption: "Pull up Byron Donalds. Let's see if you're actually black." Then James said, "Could you text to Byron for me?" Tucker Carlson has endorsed Fishback for governor of Florida. President Trump has endorsed Byron Donalds. Today, Fishback praised Kamala Harris. So honestly, at the end of the day, it's like it's all infighting, but this is just kind of hilarious. Okay. Laura Loomer is just, I don't even know whose side is she on. Is she on Team Israel or America? Obviously, being Jewish, she's on Team Israel. Apocalyptic scenes leaking from Tel Aviv, even though massive censorship is underway. So let's grok this one. Let's see what happened here. The Post shares 20-second video depicting chaotic nighttime fires, burning cars, and firefighters responding to an urban area claimed to be Tel Aviv amid Iranian retaliatory missile strikes on Israel. On February 28, 2026, the U.S.-Israeli airstrikes targeted Iran, reportedly killing Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. God, I always butcher that name. Prompting Iran's ballistic missile barrage on Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, overwhelming parts of the Iron Dome system. Author Furkan Gozukara, an AI researcher, highlights alleged Israeli censorship of attack footage, with Post garnering over 500 likes from users experiencing anti-Israel sentiments in the replies. So yeah, this is, again, let's see those anti-Israel sentiments. Let's see what people are saying. A lot of, obviously we have a lot of memes and, a lot of that, but people are definitely not happy that we don't want to be in a war with Iran. This is more footage. Again, allegedly, this is footage from Israel. We don't know for sure.
Is it police?
And just, again, this guy's always popping up in the ads algorithm. He is a Jewish rabbi, very against the West in the United States, calls us modern-day Rome, Edom, believes that we're going to just get wiped out. It's like, why are these people our allies again? Yeah, so the sparks are flying. Sparks are flying. Nope, we won't play that. Don't want to offend anybody. Don't want to offend the Twitter gods or the YouTube gods. So again, this is the actual full footage of the Iranian drone being intercepted right near the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. That's crazy. Look at that. So they were sending drone footage right into the Burj Khalifa. That's how many rich people live in here. They're really trying to target specific individuals here, aren't they? Who's working there? Again, so guys, what do you think about all of this? An Iranian drone is now targeting the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Again, we're seeing it looks like that actually might have hit. Or is that the same video? I can't even tell. Dubai is getting smoked by Iran. Everything's hitting. It's funny because Andrew Tate had just made like this whole video that Iran was not striking Dubai and that Dubai was fine. If there's anybody from Dubai listening by chance, is this true? Is like what's happening? What's going on? Also, if you're listening to this, be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe. Give us your thoughts. What's your take on the entire geopolitical flashpoint that's happening in our modern world? Between the United States, between Iran, between Israel, what do you think is happening? Developing, the anime-based United States has dropped a new trailer that covers all of the events happened today between America, Israel, and Iran. The creator has been rapidly growing in popularity. Again, we covered one of his videos. This was another video that was posted by Psyop Anime. Woo! World War III, baby. Yep, we're in it. I'm not laughing about it. I'm not happy about it, but we're already in it. There's no going back. What's this? So this was posted 1 hour ago. Again, while we were streaming, this came out. Al-Qaeda is demanding that Muslims around the world side with Israel against Iran in current conflict. A top commander has stated that Iran is a seditious state that conspires against Muslims. Whoever acts against Iran, be it Israel or anyone else, we fully support them. What? Okay, that's a little fishy. See, to me, there's two outcomes here. Either this individual is an Al-Qaeda fighter who is actually Israel Mossad. And again, this is a very common thing. ISIS used to be called the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. A lot of people don't know that, but all of us in the intelligence world do. We do know this. And when we look at these individuals, it kind of makes me wonder, is this really Al-Qaeda? Or is this somebody who's Mossad portraying to be Al-Qaeda? Because it seems very strange to me. All I know for sure is that There is no animosity, or there's total animosity between Muslims and Israelis. That's a given. There's absolutely no love between the two if you really study the two sects. So when you think about this, how real is this? Who is this person? Again, this guy is from Al-Qaeda, demanding that Muslims around the world side with Israel against Iran. What do you guys think about that? I don't really buy it. I think that this guy's probably Mossad, probably Israeli intelligence, dressing up, portraying, masquerading, provocateuring. U.S. Central Command, 2 hours ago, the Iranian regime was warned. CENTCOM is now delivering swift and decisive action as directed. Bombs are flying. World War III has begun. How do you guys feel about everything? How are you guys feeling about the entire operation itself? Oh, don't want to play that. Some of this stuff is inappropriate, right? You never know you never know what's going to pop up on X, but we're covering all the most recent events that are happening in the algorithm right now. So again, before we wrap it up here, we'll wrap it up here because we've been streaming for quite a while now. We're almost at 2 hours, so we'll wrap it up here in another 10 minutes. But this is the current algorithm and everything that's happening. CENTCOM drops footage of HIMARS following ATACMS at Iranian radar and missile launch positions across the country. Again, so it looks like, America's dominating. The United States is dominating, and Israel is also dominating. Clips from Nick Fuentas are definitely coming up in the entire algorithm. I'm just seeing that a lot. A lot of Nick Fuentas clips because he was right, pretty much vindicated. I don't know, should we listen to another Nick Fuentas clip? What we have created is a nuclear power with a very sophisticated conventional military and intelligence apparatus, and we have handed them control over one of the most important regions in the world. Yep, we're going to play it because I think what Nick has to say here is rather important.
When Iran is defeated, they will have 300 nuclear bombs. No other country in the region has them. They will have a qualitative military edge, which is guaranteed by an act of the U.S. Congress. Do you know that? The United States can furnish other Middle Eastern countries with weapons, but we are bound by law that we cannot give any country more weapons than we give Israel. If we give Saudi Arabia F-35s, we got to give Israel twice as many.
It's crazy, and it's so true. I love that Nick's saying this. Absolutely facts.
If we give Saudi Arabia the latest and greatest F-35, we got to give Israel something even more advanced. By law, we are required to furnish them. They are entitled to a qualitative conventional military edge with air power, missile defense, probably soon to be AI and other things.
Oh, yeah. Like I was saying it before, Israel controls the AI, and that's how they're getting the intelligence on everybody, right? Palantir. And we're using that technology.
So they will have a nuclear arsenal. They will have the qualitative conventional edge. They are an intelligence superpower, and they are influential in the court of the United States. So in the end, if some other country becomes a problem, in the event that that's even possible, they can always call the White House reliably, and we'll bail them out.
Yep. Every time, every single time, like clockwork. And they'll even say Israel first with it. Our own Congress people.
What we have effectively created here, this is the point, is a rival superpower. What we have created is a nuclear power with a very sophisticated conventional military.
And here, all this time, we could have just sided with Russia. We could have been buddied up with Russia, the second place nuclear superpower. We could have easily sided with them. And if Trump had been elected in 2020 versus Biden, I do believe that there might have actually been some kind of agreement made with Russia. Then again, look at what we're seeing now. Maybe not, right? Maybe it would have just been the exact same outcome. Maybe Trump was always just supposed to be, hate to say it, a sock puppet for Israel and Netanyahu.
Intelligence apparatus. And we have handed them control over one of the most important regions in the world. Most important choke points, trade routes, energy, some of the most cash in the world. How much cash is in the sovereign wealth funds of the Saudis, the Emiratis, the Qataris?
Yep.
That's all theirs now. And as the United States, or rather as the world order, undergoes a revolution, as China rises, India rises,
Yep.
As the world transitions from
They're all going to team up against America.
unipolar to multipolar, as we enter the age of complexity, of complex interactions between all states and all peoples and all states, who will benefit from the arbitrage?
Israel.
Who will be the ultimate middleman between China and the United States, between India and Pakistan, between Turkey and Greece?
Israel.
Between Asia and Europe?
Israel.
Between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea?
Israel.
It's going to be Israel.
Ding, ding, ding. So that's where we're at. That is why the United States went to war with Iran. That is exactly and precisely the reason why. For Israel. For the record, Germany is obliged by international law to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. They're not going to do it, though, will they? And again, this was the news that the wing of Zion, Netanyahu's prime ministerial plane, took off from Nevatim Air Base today at 12:10 p.m. It flew off the coast of Israel for about 4 hours before flying into Berlin. It landed in the German capital this evening at 8:30 p.m. Huh. Isn't that crazy? So again, that was the confirmed information. See you later, suckers. Yeah. Oh, man. Yep. He's running away. He's getting away with it. That's crazy. But this is something to think about. This was Gaza in 2023. Look at this photo. Look at this photo. Look at this photo. Then Gaza 2026. Look at that. And again, maybe not, I mean, it says Tel Aviv 2026 here, but I'm looking at the top two images here. And what I'm thinking is I'm looking at the middle image, Gaza City in 2026. Completely pillaged, wiped over, just wiped out completely. And you want to know what I think? When I look at this picture, I feel like Israel will do this to the United States as soon as they get a chance to, considering that they are very anti-Christian and very anti-Catholic and anti-America, apparently, according to their own words, their own actions especially. So we'll see what happens with all of this. We'll see what's happening when you have to fly back to Buchenwald for safety. Yeah. So again, more comments on Netanyahu fleeing Israel. If they're on visas, deport. Columbia University students now posting death to America. Wow. Columbia University. There's Fuentas. 10 minutes ago, Nick Fuentas tweeted, "Never Vance, never Rubio. The Iran war ticket just lost 2028." I agree with that. And we're going to click like on it. We'll even retweet it because it's totally true. Again, Iranian strikes U.S. airbase at Erbil International Airport in Iraq. Yeah, a lot of big things happening. Banner flying above the Imam Reza Shrine in Mashhad has been swapped out for the one that represents grief and retribution following confirmation of Khamenei's killing. Yeah, so the more videos I'm seeing locally out of Tehran, locally out of Iran, it does not look like the people themselves are happy about this. U.S. media is stating that, the Iranians and the natives there want a regime change. I don't see any of that. The videos that I've been seeing are people who seem to be mourning Khamenei's killing. Again, we're not taking sides here. I'm not taking the side of Iran. I ain't taking the side of Israel either. I take the side of none of them. I take the side of America first. But it is important to cover these issues and, the significance of them and how they affect our future, what's happening and what's gonna happen to America because of it. Total defeat. And it's very sad. As an American watching this, it's just like, dude, that's gonna be us soon. When I see us doing this to other nations, I see cockiness, I see arrogance out of the West. And this is what destroys empires. This is what destroyed the Romans. And the Jews know this. They're using it against us. They're exploiting our weaknesses and our ignorance to history. More footage of extensive destruction coming out of Tel Aviv. Looks like Tel Aviv's been taking some hits. Again, that was posted 13 minutes ago by the War Monitor account. Follow him on Twitter X, great account. We already watched that video. Following his betrayal of his promise not to start new wars, America First conservative hero Tucker Carlson spoke out against America last deep state neocon Zero President Trump's decision to attack Iran, calling it absolutely disgusting and evil. Tucker says it will destroy the country. And I agree it will. So this is what's happening. This is what's new in the media. This is what's new on Twitter X. This is what people are talking about. Again, when I go to the homepage, based on my algorithm and the way it's architected, this is what's coming up for me. It looks like Nick Fuentas is live on Rumble discussing the U.S.-Israel regime change in Iran. So let's see. That's cool. Let's see. We'll go hop into Fuentas' page. We'll see what he's saying. Let's go watch some America First. Looks like he's live right now.
Black for that. Where are my apology forms? That's not enough apology forms. More apology forms.
Where are the apology forms?
Where are my apology forms? I was right. I was right.
He was right.
All of this about everything, and you were wrong.
Yeah.
You
Fuentas was
me,
right.
You abused me.
Everybody else was wrong, man.
You mocked me, and you were wrong because you are stupid.
I'm not
because
stupid.
you are a stupid goy.
Yep.
So submit your apology forms. Submit your apology forms.
Knew it was coming. I knew when I put this on, this is what I was going to hear. Love it, though.
You owe me big time. Big time.
We do, man. Fuentas for president 2028. I can see it. Why not? Because I certainly would feel better with Fuentas over J.D. Vance or Rubio or Gavin Newsom. That's for sure.
Because I looked ahead, and I don't have a, what do they call it? I don't have a remote viewing technology. It's called follow the money. It's called, if you bet on Jews rigging it, you'll win every time.
Yeah, I honestly agree with that.
Anyway.
And not to be anti-Semitic, but that's just where the data lies. That's where the data is telling us, pointing.
Pretty good. I told you.
He did.
Unmatched perspicacity.
Yep. Fuentas with the W. But what do you guys think about the entire war in Iran? And what do you guys think about what's going to happen next? What do you think is the future of America? Do you think America will continue this war? Do you think this will be a false war? Or do you think we will go to war with Iran for another 20 years? Where do you see things going? I see this becoming a 20-year war with Iran, most likely. And ultimately, I hope it doesn't happen. And obviously, I wish for the peace of Earth. I don't want there to be war. Nobody wants there to be war. It's not good for the United States to be in a war right now. It does not serve the American people to be in a war. It doesn't benefit the American people to be in a war. And it doesn't benefit your bank account. It doesn't benefit your family. It doesn't benefit you in any such way. And so it's like, when we took Venezuela, that made more sense. When we took, taking Greenland would have made more sense. Western Hemisphere dominance. But when we start messing with the Middle East and these countries of which we're totally outnumbered, outgunned, surrounded by a completely different people entirely, Israel should be fighting this war, not the United States. But here we are. And why? Well, I think it's because Trump has been compromised. I think Trump is in those. I know. I've read the Epstein files. I read what was in there. Yes, we know that not everything is true and that some things are true, some things are false in there. But we know enough information to know that there's really nothing else to say. Beside the fact that our entire government is occupied by Israel, fifth column, and the United States is essentially going down a road of another 20-year war in the Middle East, just like Iraq, just like Afghanistan. And then this will essentially be the destruction of the United States. You will see more laws against the freedom of speech in America. You will see more sleeper cells in Iranians and also Israelis who will masquerade as Iranians. The president has never been in more danger because of this decision. And all of this stems because our president was in the Epstein files, and he doesn't want anybody to know about that. And that's just my theories on it. That's my theories. That's where it's not my theories. That's essentially the facts. That's where the facts lead. And so what will happen next is the question. Will Howard Lutnick be held accountable? Will we really be sending U.S. troops? If you are a U.S. troop, will you really fight and die for the state of Israel? While their troops don't even lift a finger? While their troops are hiding under a bunker right now in Tel Aviv? Not okay. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on the entire war. We already saw this coming. We already knew this was going to be a reality. We already knew this was going to be a part of the reality that we're living in. We already knew this was a part of the war plans, the Trump doctrine, and a lot of us just missed it. A lot of us really believed that Trump was just not going to get us into a war with Iran. We believed what we voted for. We believed voting for Trump was going to get us out of wars with Iran, but it got us into a war on behalf of the state of Israel. And Israel will benefit from this the most. They will become the second superpower of the planet, and now we will be in competition with them. And so that's kind of what I see happening. Unless cooler heads prevail, unless the right people get into office, and unless we elect the right people, unless we stop this war as a people, as a society. So that's my stance on it. Stay safe, stay powerful. Ultimately, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, spread the information. Doing this live stream to not for my own benefit, just because it's fun. I like covering information. I like covering the news. I like covering all the trending topics in the media. So with that being said, that's all I have to say. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, like I said before, and I'll see you next time.